one to consider. Has he just completely missed?
I don't understand here, Amon.
What's occurring? He's got his
Queen
hand on his
H6
head.
Check, made it too easy to come back in the match. He's got to fully reset here heading into game 4.
Yeah, game 4. White pieces, Hikaru Nakamura. It is tied right now, 1.5, 1.5. Levon Aronian from Team Reject. He made that comeback. And now, if it works out to be a draw here, Eric, we will go to Armageddon. But I think this opening will tell us, you know, what's the mindset of these players right now. One thing I'll say about Hikaru is that he seems to be, and listening to his interviews, he seems to be understanding the Armageddon format quite well and how it applies to him. So I will say I don't think he's that afraid of going into Armageddon.
He's had a career of like speed chess and being at the top of the world, high stakes matches. So I don't think nerves or those situations phase him. I think you're right. Any of these formats, Armageddon, he's used to it. He's been playing against, you know, Magnus Carlsen every year, match after match, tournaments like the Speed Chess Championships. He can handle all the situations. At the same time, he's got to once again reset and think about, dude, Levon is a real threat in this format, and he can't get away with some of those moves.
Yeah, you know, we talk about Armageddons. Levon also making it through the last chance qualifier certainly had to play his fair share. Getting into the game at the moment, we see this move queen to c6. Now, Levon has taken it upon himself to make that extra effort to play bishop a6. It's offside. It actually brings the knight offside, but it trades Hikaru's best piece on the board, best minor piece on the board. So the rest of the position, there's only a queen for Hikaru, but, you know, Levon has traded, say, okay, I'll get rid of your bishop pair, but I will, you know, put my knight offside, kind of sacrifice a little bit of the position.
Yeah, Black knows the knight's offside and it's going to take time to bring it back. But as you mentioned, there's limited material on the board, so Black's banking on White not having the development to punish that. And we see that on the board. The knight on g1, the bishop on c1, they haven't developed yet. So all Hikaru has to show right now is the queen on c6.
Right.
It all depends. Can he keep it there? What does the queen do? It freezes that c7 pawn, takes away Black's ability to open up and take advantage of the slow development. All comes down to that queen on c6 here.
Now, queen c8 is kind of a strange move. I was actually expecting perhaps the move queen to d7, and then I thought, okay, maybe queen d7, you know, he
it's
could
ambitious.
trade. Yeah, this is
queen
an ambitious move.
It's not saying trade the queens. Maybe you are too behind on development, and I want to play this for Black, and I want to keep the queens on. If you think someone's underdeveloped, trading the queens probably makes their task easier because it's harder to checkmate when the queens are off.
And rook d8, that move as well. Rook d6 perhaps, because I was thinking to myself, what's Black's next move, right? You can't move the knight on a6 at all. b8, c5, b4 off limits. And what's your next move with the queen? Queen e6, well, that's another queen trade, maybe queen d7. So this move makes more sense. Rook to d8, maybe rook to d6. He is keeping the queens on the board after all.
He's dislodged the queen, and rook d6, there's certain positions. If White queenside castles, Black's rook on d6 might swing over to g6 or somewhere on the 6th rank.
Yep.
And there's a queen on c8. Maybe the queen joins the party on g4. So this is a move Black can consider playing c5, just playing in the center, standard chess. But there might be some utility with that rook on the 6th rank.
And you mentioned, Eric, that Levon Aronian has made a career out of winning with the Black pieces. So don't think this is some situation where Hikaru's playing with White, only Hikaru can win this match. Look at the way that Levon is playing. Knight e4. I mean, Eric, I would have second thoughts about castling here, knowing that rook g6 and either queen g4 or queen h3 are happening next, coupled with knight g5. That's, you know, you definitely have to think about that.
I definitely have to think about that. Fortunately for Hikaru, he put his knight on e2, not f3. So the knight on e2 can play defense. It can go to f4. It can also go to g3 if it really needs to cover up the g file. f4, probably the key square because it plays defense and offense, targeting d5, defending g2. And now we have some clarity in the center, taking on c5. Levon takes back with a knight.
Interesting.
That's a bit of a concession,
it allows
right?
Knight d4. Knight d4 could have been played on the last move. That covers the b3 square. And there's an isolated pawn on d5. I think that Hikaru has done a really good job. While it may have optically looked like Black's pieces were coordinating, he said, I'm not phased, I'm not spooked. The knight on a6 is out of the game. And in order to bring it into the game on c5, you've given up the d4 square. There's a weak pawn on d5. this looks like a slow, small but manageable push for Hikaru Nakamura.
It does, and I think we can always look at the clocks. When Hikaru is spending a lot of time early on, he's probably not too comfortable. Here, even though he's behind in development, he was playing quickly. Now he's achieved the castle, and as you mentioned, he can blockade that pawn. On the other hand, Levon has his knight on e6. In this structure, this is a well-known structure in the Nimzo Indian. When black gets her knight on e6, doubles up on the d-file, generally speaking, white does not have enough to win that. It's not even considered much of an advantage at all. At the same time, this is no increment chess, so you can play on and on and on, but I don't think Levon is uncomfortable either.
No, the d-pawn can be defended, so it's not that Hikaru can just walk up and win it, but it really revolves around maybe the d4 move. Are we going to see that move happen? The move knight g3 indicates knight f5. Right, knight f5 hits the rook, also brings the knight back to the d4 square. And the other thing it does is it allows that queen on d2 to transfer to the f2 square, and then you can double the rooks on the d-file. Because right now there's one piece that's not participating. It's the rook on f1. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe knight f5, queen f2, knight back to d4.
Definitely, and that's one of the reasons why the knight on e6 is pretty well placed. It targets d4, but also defends g7, because if it wasn't, white would look to play maybe queen f2, queen g3, try to provoke weaknesses around black's king. So far, Levon isn't giving Hikaru much. The game revolves around this isolated pawn on d5.
And although you could say that the e3 pawn is just as weak, and Levon could target it on the e-file, there's an extra piece in the position that black does not have, which is the king. At some point, white can play king f2 to defend that pawn. And wow, knight h6, knight g4. This is a much different way of playing this position, because you're no longer controlling d4. And to be honest, Eric, I'm surprised by this decision not to just retreat safely knight d4.
He baited Hikaru. This looks like it weakens the dark squares around black's king. It's true. But how does Hikaru take advantage of that? If you give black a couple of moves, maybe I play d4, but on the other hand, I might even play a move like queen e7, play h5, and place my queen on f6 and say, my king is safe. He's baiting the knight to go to a worse square.
f6 is surprising. I thought that moves like queen c3, you always had d4.
f6.
This is surprising.
We have to look at e4, allowing queen h6.
Yep.
What did Levon plan against this? Because this is the obvious move.
Well, h5 on the previous move was the one to consider. Has he just completely missed?
I don't understand here, Amon.
What's occurring? He's got his
Queen
hand on his
h6
head.
check. You can't go king back.
It's over.
If you go king h8, you take on f6. I don't see a move.
f6 hits the queen, the rook, the h7 pawn. Levon had his hand on his head like he completely missed it, and you can see just the body language. We can take the board off the screen, and you know who is winning.
Wow. There's
that's
no
a one-mover.
Safety for the king.
That's a one-mover. Levon Aronian cannot believe that he just missed it. You know what? e4. Did he see queen h6? What did he think was the intention after e4? I think he expected queen c3, Eric. It's possible he didn't see that diagonal opening up. He was tunnel vision on the center. Maybe expected only queen c3, because I don't have another explanation.
Now Levon needs to think, what's the best way to play to keep myself in the game? He's facing a lost position, but can he come up with some counterplay? Sacrifice his queen for a rook and a knight. Do you put your king on h8 here, and after knight takes f6, you can't even play rook takes d1 because queen takes h7 is checkmate.
I think you have to play king h8. King g8 walks into knight f6. End of story.
Yes.
King f7 walks into queen takes h7, knight h6. There's going to be a checkmate there with rook takes e4 or queen g8. So this is just pure frustration, because king h8 should be on the board right now.
Yeah, Levon's just trying to stabilize his thoughts, but even if he does, we don't have a move here. King h8, knight takes f6. As you mentioned, king f7. I can take on h7 and even follow up with maybe knight h6 check, and the king gets chased to the middle of the board where it gets checkmated on the e-file.
Yep.
We're staring at a completely lost position with no counterplay. One of the worst blunders. Levon Aronian has been so consistent this past month during the EWC, and here he's made an elementary blunder.
Yeah, and that is a game-costing blunder, a match-costing blunder. He will be eliminated because of it. King h8 is the only move that I can see here, but you can just see the frustration, Eric, from the mental perspective. It takes a while for you to even admit that, okay, I have to play a lost move. He's finally come to that realization.
Resignation, Levon
and
Aronian.
Hikaru wins. Wow, Team Falcons.
You see the players on camera. Levon is probably telling him, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I missed that. I thought you'd play this. And Hikaru has to be relieved. He didn't have to work as hard as he probably expected. Levon was such a tough opponent. But at the end of the day, we're all capable of making blunders. And it was terrible timing for Levon to make that blunder.
Terrible timing for Levon, who's had such a consistent, such a good event. And let's not forget, coming through the last chance qualifier and making it here. Such an impressive run. But we're talking about Hikaru Nakamura, the winner of this matchup. Eric, you mentioned it looked like it could have gone either way. Levon with an insane comeback to win against the Berlin. But in that final game, Hikaru just